Today's stories include Bungie's facing launch worries with Marathon, Kojima's next espionage game is years away, and Switch 2 is getting a much requested feature. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Welcome in, everybody, to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Monday, May 19th, 2025. I'm the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez, and I'm joined by the Perry Poppy, the McKeary Counter, Mike Keary Counter Howard, Snowbike Mike.
Good morning, Andy.
What's going on, Mikey?
No better way to start the week than hanging with you, talking video games, big dog.
I'm ready. I mean, more importantly, Mike, it's a launch week of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Oh, big deal.
It's a big deal, man.
You gonna go to the theaters? Go celebrate again?
I might.
Okay.
I remember I went down to sit next to you in the front row after I went to go to the restroom break. And you're like, oh, what the hell? And I was like, you know, the guys up there that I was sitting next to, they weren't giving me a whole lot of room when I walked by. And it was kind of like, I feel like they were giving me a message like, all right, don't be doing this too much. You know?
No, really?
Yeah, I felt like I was getting that kind of vibe from them. And then, you know, the movie ended and I went back home and I was in the Twitch chat and I was like, chat, you know, we just got out of the movie Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
And then some people were like, did Snowbike Mike stay awake? And I was like, yeah, he was awake. And then you kind of immediately disproved what I said.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I kind of dozed off near the end. And I was like, okay, I did hear some louder breathing.
I started breathing heavy at the end.
Yeah,
there,
but
right?
I wasn't sure if it was just the breathing or if it was you.
Well, I had my travel suit on.
Okay.
And the travel suit is comfy. And so now I got extra comfy in the movie theater. And there was a layer there where I started thinking, what if I close my eyes right now?
Okay. Because it was during some of the most intense parts of the movie.
you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say that's the best time to fall asleep.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Kind of evens you out. This is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kinda Funny membership on Patreon, YouTube, and now Spotify and Apple Podcasts to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be a part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube Superchats. Housekeeping. We're just a little baby 11-person business. All about live talk shows. Today, after Kinda Funny Games Daily, you'll get the Games Cast, where we talk about every Rockstar game ranked. Quick, what's your top 3 right now?
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 3. Boom.
Damn, over Vice City.
Oh,
okay,
but there's like
that.
a Red Dead in there too.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Shit.
They did make those. I forgot. As you were doing that, I was like, yeah, that sounds right. I was like, oh, yeah, they did make Red Dead games.
Rockstar Table Tennis. Where does that rank?
Ooh, probably top 5. Yeah, probably top 5. After the Games Cast, you'll get The Last of Us HBO new episode review. I haven't
You been
caught
watching
up.
those? What's up?
I haven't caught up at all.
Okay.
Just haven't had time.
Okay.
Streaming every day in May.
Every day in May?
Now, I did watch the rehearsal last night. I've been watching the rehearsals, shorter shows, and I watched episodes 1 through 3 of Andor.
Okay. Okay.
Season 2?
I don't hear hacks or the studio in this, though.
But he's watching the most
I'm caught up on the
important.
studio.
Okay.
Caught up on the studio.
Studio's good.
Studio's
they left
good.
me on a cliffhanger. I'm uptight about it.
Studio's good.
Tio, give me your gut check on Andor's Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3.
I mean,
For BBY.
It ends, and I'm just like, this is some good television. This may be the best television.
Are you emotionally ready to skip a year?
I did start episode 4.
Okay.
I got like halfway through, but it was a little too late. I was like, I got games daily. I got to be responsible.
Cut it.
And by late, it was like 9:30. I was like, I need to go take a shower.
Yeah.
Because you know that, you're not just going to be in bed by 10:30. You're going to open up the Steam Deck.
You know
You're
how
going to
that
get
goes.
back into Fields of Mystria, which I've been getting back into.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Have you thought about getting back into Counter-Strike with me?
Why?
Did you miss the video?
Yeah.
The video.
Oh, Nakey Jakey?
Yeah.
No, I didn't get the chance to check it out. I saw Tam got back into it.
It's got a vibe.
What does that mean?
A little pinch to get you back in.
Oh, okay.
Little pinch.
We did. I don't know why we fell off of Counter-Strike.
We were nasty.
Well,
you like Valorant. You're a Valorant boy.
Well, let me just say, Team Valfrog 2-0 went 2-0 last night against The same team. We ended up playing them back to back.
Oh, okay, nice.
Team
I
Valfrock
see I didn't
2-0.
get my call still. Still waiting on my 10-day. Waiting on my 10-day contract.
Well, I mean, are you going to sit on the bench and observe, or like, you know?
I'm ready to game. Just give me a call. I still got it, Andy. I never lost it.
I don't know.
I feel like I got it in me.
All I remember is that one 12-year-old that asked you if you're dumb.
Will be an all-timer.
All right, team. You know, prepubescent voice. We're gonna go in. We're gonna sneak. We're not gonna make any noise.
Yeah.
All right, round starts. Mike just accidentally pops him up. Pa! And then, Brim, are you dumb?
You checked me. I had to apologize.
I just hear the wheeze laugh coming. Like, fucking kid, Jesus. If you're a Kind of Funny member, today's Greg Way is being done by Blessing Adeoye Jr. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Omega Buster, and Delaney Twining. I also didn't call out that we were doing a Kind of Funny podcast after The Last of Us review. And then for the stream, a Final Fantasy Magic card look through. Does that mean that we have the cards?
No. That doesn't happen until June 16th. I'm waiting on my cards. I have pre-orders in. I'm so excited, Andy.
Shit. Oh, okay, this is very exciting. Today we are brought to you by Subway Surfers and Factor, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We got 5 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Story number 1. This comes from Paul Tassi at Forbes. It's a very good article. Recommend everybody looking through the article that Paul, I believe he posted this morning on Twitter and Blue Sky. New marathon info, Bungie morale, launch worries, and changing plans. Once again, from Paul Tassi at Forbes. And this also kind of goes along with a lot of people's super chat questions. Can marathon make it?
Okay.
There's been a lot of people writing in with super chats, and we appreciate all that support. I will get into all of that once we do more of our super chat section. But the gist of a lot of the questions is, will this work after a really, really chaotic weekend? Story goes like this. Chaos has engulfed Bungie after an artist, Anti-Real, came forward to accuse Bungie of ripping off her 2017 work as its upcoming extraction shooter Marathon was starting to take shape as early as 2018. Bungie admitted to the plagiarism, supposedly the work of one ex-artist and supposedly the work of, I read that incorrectly, and promised to make things right, but the story gained traction among gaming outlets and reaction streamers alike, and it's poisoned the previous positive conversation about the aesthetic of the game. I've spoken to some current and former Bungie employees, and their excuse for the art theft, studio morale, the possibility of a delay, and some very real changes when it comes to the upcoming presentation and playtesting of the game. Here's what I've learned. The public explanation for the art theft, one ex-employee taking things in 2020, is the same one being given internally at Bungie among the rank and file. Sony and Bungie legal are now sorting through this, and there is unlikely to be much new information as all of this continues to unfold. It's not clear how long an audit will take of the assets to remove or find any more plagiarism, as it's an expansive enough process to have Bungie not even show any footage at all in its recent live stream. Morale is in a free fall across all departments, and the vibes have never been worse, quote unquote. Everybody has the same concerns about what happens to Bungie as a studio if Marathon bombs, which is something they absolutely cannot afford. There are even hints or jokes about a delay about the September release date internally. With that said, it is entirely possible, if not likely, those conversations are happening privately between higher-up Sony and Bungie leadership. It's unclear what the plan to launch the game is in a, quote, now actively hostile environment, unquote, just a few months from now, or how to turn that around. Some changes to future plans have been made even before this new plagiarism development, mainly as a reaction to gameplay footage and now the closed alpha. At the start of this month, Bungie pulled the plug on its main Marathon marketing plan, which was going to have a new trailer in June, along with the launch of pre-orders. The whole campaign needs to be reworked now. A heavily marketed public beta in August may be changed into a roadmap of public playtests with no actual details set yet. This would align with Bungie's stated multiple opportunities to play before launch, rather than just the upcoming beta.
All right, we're back.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey.
Hello. Welcome back.
Hey.
Hey.
You want to finish that story? You
I
want
don't
to
know.
restart that story?
We can just continue it.
Okay.
What's up with the YouTube VOD? It just goes.
I think we're still it's still up, right? Like the VOD will just cut from whenever we crash to this moment.
That's pretty lit. All right. I don't know where it cut off, but I got to assume that it was probably in the second section of this.
It's a heavily marketed public beta in August. May be changed. Maybe.
Yeah, we're talking about how Marathon and the future plans are likely changing. So welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that. Little PC blue screen issue, but Barrett on the case, popping off, doing his darndest. Let's continue. This is, of course, from Paul Tassi at Forbes. Article about Marathon, about the art theft, all that junk, including the game just, may not be in a great spot. And a lot of the devs may feel similarly. A heavily marketed public beta in August may be changed into a roadmap of public playtests with no actual details set yet. This would align with Bungie's stated multiple opportunities to play before launch, rather than just the upcoming beta. Marathon was originally pitched by higher-up, quote-unquote, good old boy Bungie leadership, and as far back as 5 years ago, devs were telling them what would and wouldn't work and were often ignored. Many have said previously that it needed to have some sort of a PvE component. All of this between necessary asset auditing, a reworked marketing campaign, and shifting playtest plans screams of a game that is not coming out in 4 months, or at the very least, shouldn't be, though there are no indicators of that yet. Whole lot to break down here, Mike. Shout out to Paul Tassi for that fantastic article. We saw all this drama kind of unfolding live over the weekend. I think it was also late Friday when they had that Bungie sort of sit down, which is normally, here's where our game is right now. Here's the cool stuff we're excited to show you all with some of the leads in the game. But they knew, all right, that's not going to be this stream. We're going to have to talk about the art asset theft. We're going to have to really dive into that. And I thought they did as good of a job as possible, even though I think everything is in a rough spot right now and things do not look great. Mike, what are your thoughts on Marathon's future, the start of Marathon? I guess we could start maybe from the art asset portion of it.
The art asset portion, I would lean on you right there to talk about being an artist and how that feels to have your art stolen. But of course, that is not a good headline to have, especially when you're trying to build momentum off of that closed alpha that we just had, the excitement that everybody was sharing online for your game, and then having immediately shoot yourself in the foot moment here of stealing all of that artwork and now having to retune and audit it and look through it all is not going to be a great look.
I also just think it's incredibly tough because it's one thing to really be into somebody's style. When you get together, you kind of figure out what influences can we pull from, what are things we're vibing with, what do we think the game can look like? And for a former Bungie employee to straight up just rip off assets, right? This wasn't oh, wow, that's a little too close of an influence. Yeah. Wow, we could see this is really skirting the line. This isn't a Power World Pokemon thing where, maybe that Pokemon looks kind of identical, but it's got different spikes on it. No, it's like we are seeing the same words being put in little decals around the world. And, you got to feel terrible for Anti-Real, but I think on the more positive side, Bungie saying, hey, we obviously don't stand by this, and we will do right by the artist, whatever that means. I think that's a good sign so far. I hope they are really, really done well, and I hope that they are compensated for a lot of what has happened to them, because, again, this game's whole aesthetic has definitely pulled from a lot of different influences, but a lot of them can be traced to Anti-Real. Not to say that Anti-Real is that this is the first time we've ever seen an aesthetic like that. Anti-Real has obviously taken influences from a lot of other visual looks in the past, but yeah, still not a great look art asset wise. And, it's coming at the worst time possible, I think, because I think I'm on the opposite side where Marathon's beta, closed beta, whatever happens. And we were seeing throughout the weekend that obviously not a whole lot of invites were going out. I saw people like Paul Tassi posting on Blue Sky and Twitter. not trying to be, doom and gloom about it, but posting the often seen Steam concurrence and seeing 700 people playing and saying, hey, obviously not a great look, but put out more invites, right? Like, I feel like the playtest was already not conducted super great, and it was made even more clear that once Arc Raiders, in my opinion, put out their beta, that you see, oh shit, Marathon has it needs more time. You got to let this cook a lot more and see what we can do about this. And obviously, it's such a crazy game because you see that amazing short video, the animated sort of CG short. You see just how awesome the world can be, and you're kind of butting heads with a hardcore genre, trying to mix that with casual players. How frustrating that can be when you lose all of your shit. There's a lot of things that go into Marathon maybe not going to see the success that we initially thought it might, because it's like, well, Bungie can make this work. We think Bungie can make this work. I think the Arc Raiders beta did show how much further that they have in development, because I thought the Arc Raiders beta was, as much as I have not been vibing with a lot of these extraction games, the Arc Raiders beta felt a lot more complete in what they were offering. Now, you as somebody, we've been playing Hunt Showdown recently, Mike.
Yeah.
We've been playing, you got really into Tarkov with Nick. Where do you see that Bungie can kind of improve upon what the Marathon closed beta was?
Yeah, I think Bungie needs some work here for Marathon. And I think most importantly, I don't think we'll see this in September. I do think we'll see this get delayed here. As you brought up, it was a closed alpha, so I think playtests were limited on that one. I think what we were building up for was a summer game fest, like big blowout, probably a beta right after that as we lead into September. So I think with the vibes being off within the studio, of course, now nobody probably wants to walk into that studio and have a really positive mindset of what's going on right now until the vibes are fixed. But that would have been the lead up, right? So now this whole roadmap is probably thrown off. So I expect this game to be delayed until probably 2026. The issue is now you have Grand Theft Auto looming in May. And so your window gets a little bit tighter to keep player retention, keep all eyes on you. With Arc Raiders, we still have the question mark of when. You have a game like Exoborn, when, right? Like, we have a lot of these extraction shooters that are looking to get your attention, looking to jump in and make a splash, but we don't know when or where they'll be seen, what's next for them. But when we look at Marathon, there was something missing in that pot, right? There had the cool looks, that sci-fi futuristic look that we all liked. Issue is the art now. That's going to be a major thing. How do they change that? How do they fix that? The gunplay was Bungie, right? It felt good to play. The character classes, I thought, all had unique abilities that played into the mix there, but there was something missing in that gameplay that wasn't up to snuff with what it's going to be competing against, and I don't know where you find that. I don't know what that is. If it's the PvE element, we talked about those bots being quite strong. There was a mix of a number of different kind of NPCs that you would battle, different formats, but it wasn't like Arc Raiders where all of a sudden I was fighting a giant vulture in the sky, the giant flying plane, or a giant spider, right? Like, there was pretty limited NPC battles, but the NPCs were a lot tougher than any other extraction shooter that I've encountered, where that led to gameplay of going, oh man, I can't do this alone. I need my team. And also, if I engage with these bots right now, I'm going to be opened up for a third-party attack at any moment.
Yeah, there's absolutely no genre that would be more unkind to you if you want to play solo and hop in without friends.
This one, yeah.
Because obviously you can't really get your work done unless you're playing this character, which is the one that goes invisible. And that's how I was able to get a couple of missions done when I wanted to hop in solo, maybe when you all weren't online and it's like, ooh, I have some time to kill. Maybe I can do a couple of runs and see how this thing goes. But there is no other genre that is possibly worse. Maybe Battle Royale, but to go, all right, I'm going to hop in and try to fill a lobby, and I'm going to try to get two random teammates.
Yeah.
It's so hard to communicate. The lack of proximity chat, obviously not great. I know that's something that they wanted to hopefully address and see if that's something that they could get working. But it's just, there's a part of me that feels super doom and gloom about it, even though I enjoyed my time with it when we played it, but it's not like something I would want to go back to and play all the time. Part of me wonders, man, if I want to be a super optimist about this, which I rarely am.
Yeah.
But part of me goes, maybe this whole art thing was kind of a blessing in disguise. Maybe this is something to go, shit, not only do we have to kind of audit all these art assets, maybe we can just kind of fully reset everything that we've been thinking about this game so far. Maybe this is, again, this is an extremely optimist take, and I don't think that 95% of people will agree with me on any of this, but part of me wonders, man, maybe this could be a reset for what Marathon actually is. Maybe this is what you need to see, like, all right, things already weren't going super great with how the playtest went and people's belief in the product. Maybe this is a good start, a good moment to go, man, take it back to the drawing board. We'll see you in 2028. Ooh. I don't know. Like, I obviously don't think budgets even work with that.
Yeah.
And this is just me throwing out completely hypothetical scenarios, but this isn't a genre that necessarily works with what casual audiences want. And I've seen on the flip side of that, people go, yeah, but PUBG was a really hardcore battle royale and Epic made it mainstream with Fortnite.
Yeah.
This is not that, dude. This is just you don't understand how stressful and awful an extraction shooter can treat you until you've experienced how it can treat you, in those worst moments.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I do think that out of all of them, Marathon is the most casually welcoming one out of all of them. I think this is the game that can get the casuals in. It's riding the high off of Bungie's name. Everybody knows Destiny. They know that they can trust this product from this team, right? On the outside, if you're not listening to all of this insider news, right, that we're talking about here in the depths. But like, that's a team that people can trust here, right? You see the gameplay and you go, that looks cool. Futuristic. I know the gunplay is going to be tight. The gameplay is fun at its core. The issue is it's missing something to take it above and beyond. I think when you look at Arc Raiders and you play that game, I don't think the casual audience is going, this is the game that I'm going to put down anything for. I'm going to play it for a little bit, maybe not jump on. And of course, we'll see what happens, right? All of these games are waiting. Exoborn, Arc Raiders, we have this. You have games like Hunt Showdown, Escape from Tarkov that are still thriving, right? This is a market that is moving and changing every day and waiting for someone to really stick their flag in and say, I'm going to be the one. But I would, if I had to bet before all this goes down, it would have been Marathon to do this, right? But now I think Marathon has to delay until 2026. I don't think you can rework this. This is the game. There is no massive changes you can make to this, right? I think people want more of a Helldivers. I think a lot of people thought, like, hey, let's make more Helldivers, a PvE situation where we have fun. But this is a PvP situation with light PvE elements. It's an extraction shooter. That's what this is supposed to be. And I don't think the mass audience wants that.
Yeah, making this genre kind of viable for the casual audience, I think, is the biggest challenge. And I don't have a whole lot of faith.
So let's talk about the art really quick. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I want to do a super chat real quick from we have Jay Plays Casuals with the $5 super chat. Remember, you can get your super chats in here to ask your questions and also support us as a company. Says, what's wild to me is that this isn't the first time Bungie was accused of art theft. What's going on over there? If you recall, I believe in 2018, 2017, there was a art theft accusation from Destiny 2. I believe I have the dates right on that. And for me, I think it's so hard to... I think it's easy to look at Bungie and go, what the fuck are y'all doing? But it's such a hard thing to even manage because you trust your employees. You trust who you're hiring. You don't, in any way look at them and go, oh, man, we'll have to watch you because I don't know if you're going to steal art assets. You see the work come in, you go, all right, hell yeah, you kicked ass. There's never a moment that you, as an art director or something, are going, okay, you submitted your files into Jira. We got the new uploads or whatever. All right, let's scan the internet and let's look at who you can steal. That's not something that goes through your mind as an art director. You're trying to, as an art team, you're trying to make things look the best as possible. You're not ever worrying about holy shit, I really hope none of my employees steal stuff from the internet. And it's a weird kind of thing now, because now you may have to look into software that does, in the way that teachers will take essays and then put them through and try to like scan, is this coming from anywhere or is this coming from Chat GPT? Barrett, what's going on?
Yeah, because I completely understand what you're saying in terms of workflow and all that stuff. Like trying to catch that with the naked eye without any like outside information is near impossible. There's some chats coming in, like I don't know if this is true or not, but Solipist says they've been caught 4 times in the last 5 years stealing art. And then a couple people said that like multiple people from the art team followed this person that they stole from in this instance. I know in the article that it said that like they kind of blamed it on a person that is no longer at the company, and I would assume is the person that got caught stealing art last time. At that point, when do you not, as higher ups, go, let's look at everything he touched? Everything, because we don't want to be accused of this again. As someone who worked with someone who plagiarized work, Philip Mewson, like that's where that had to go eventually. Of like, we have to just take down all of his work. We can't just like assume like any of that shit. So
this was their second time being caught, the artist. Because the first time that's usually like an automatic firing. But if that was no chat, They said it was
Bungie,
but not the multiple time for that specific artist.
They were saying that at least correct me if I'm wrong here, that the work that was caught in Marathon was because of an employee that no longer works at the company.
Right.
I would assume that was the employee who was let go or fired from like the last art theft thing that happened. Because I feel like that was also a saga.
Well,
Maybe
that
not.
was from Destiny 2, though. I think that like different teams and different that there could have been just multiple people. Now, for the excuse of multiple leads at Bungie were following this artist on Instagram, that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm like that may be like a red herring for a lot of y'all, but when you're somebody who thinks somebody's art is cool and you go, "Hey, art director, check this person out. They rock," and they go, "Oh, cool, I'll give them a follow," and like you don't. That's kind of all you know, as the art director, you're not going, all right, you submitted in your work. Let me go to all the people that you've recommended art to. Let me go to all their profiles and scan through their shit. Like, that's just not how it works. You trust your employees. And for better or for worse, your employees can fuck you over in those moments.
Sorry, I was also just going under the assumption that this was probably the same person. But if it's not the same person, and then this is a thing that's happening over and over again, like... that I feel like is a major different problem that needs to be addressed somehow. Like I get what you're saying, but if multiple different artists under Bungie are like taking art from different people on different projects, like
yeah, I mean it's not good, and I think like there's no real right answer other than now you got to look for some sort of program or service that's going to scan the internet. Unless you give every Bungie artist a lie detector test. I don't know. Like, there's no real right answer here, unfortunately. And by the way, I think stealing art is wrong. So, but I'm just like, as an art director, you're not accepting these files from artists and going, God, I hope you didn't steal from anybody. You're like, that's just not going through your mind.
And I totally understand. I wasn't trying to like push back against that completely. I was just trying to
for sure,
talk about like, another perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, an absolutely wild sort of thing happening to a game that was already not necessarily in the best shape.
I think it was a game that was trying to find its footing.
Right.
Like, this is a game that hasn't hit the mark yet, or a game that is getting towards the ramp up of like, here's the green light. We're going to go off the starting line, and we've now just misstepped completely. And so when is the new starting line? How do you recover from this? What kind of art will we see? What's going to happen here? How much of a change is going to happen with this game? We'll see.
Yeah. We'll have to, we'll stay tuned in this story. We'll see what other new reports come out. I hope the best for them, because this could be a really, really bad, colossally bad situation for Bungie.
This is massive for Sony and for Bungie, right? Of like Sony putting a lot of eggs in Bungie's baskets, being that live service help that they wanted the whole team to be able to look up to and build off of. Destiny is slowing down, right? Of like Destiny 2 is still coming out with updates, but it is slowing down at the end of its life cycle, right? So this was hopefully the, hey, let's keep this going while Destiny can keep pumping, but also prepare for what's next.
I keep on being corrected that Destiny 2 is not done. I always think that like the final shape was the end.
I think the content is going to be smaller, though.
I've been corrected by many people saying like, no, they're still going. This isn't.
But it's called the final shape.
Yeah, but it just wasn't.
The word final.
Final Fantasy 17, coming out soon. We'll get into more gaming stories around the industry after a word from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Subway Surfers, the goated endless runner that carried me through middle school, high school, college, and now adulthood is celebrating their 13th birthday, which also marks their 200th world tour update. And they're going big because Subway Surfers decided to travel to not one, not two, but 21 different locations in their 200th world tour special event. As Kinda Funny's resident Zoomer, I can seriously say that I adore Subway Surfers. It's one of my favorite comfort games. Grabbing items, completing challenges, and pulling out a hoverboard right as I'm about to hit a train feels just as good now as it did when I was sitting in the back of Mr. Coburn's Spanish class. Play through all 21 destinations to unlock amazing rewards such as characters, hoverboards, and in-game currency. Just tap the 200th World Tour button on the screen to start playing. On top of that, Subway Surfers has made a special QR code just for the best friends to get even more rewards. The update ends on June 1st, so scan that QR code, download Subway Surfers, and start running if you don't want to miss out on all the rewards. I already did. This episode is brought to you by Factor. When life gets busy, food can sometimes feel like a chore, and the fast food trips can go from a weekly to daily occurrence very fast. So buck those trends and make this season your best with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. We at Kinda Funny love Factor meals. Bless and Greg love it for a quick lunch in between shows, and I adore it as a healthier alternative instead of the dreaded hump day, too tired to cook, drive-through run, helping me to get on track with my goals. Get started at factormeals.com/kindafunny50off and use code kindafunny50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code kindafunny50off at factormeals.com/kindafunny50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/kindafunny50off.
I know we're running kind of late, Mike, because of the whole computer issue and everything, but dude, these Street Fighter Overwatch skins look crazy.
Oh, I haven't seen any.
I mean, they just look so freaking cool.
You going back? You got to buy a couple, right?
Got to.
You got to buy a couple.
Gotta go back.
You got to put them in your locker just in case you come back.
Well, I mean, I do really want to. Chris Anka wants to go back as well.
Over Marvel Rivals?
Well, I mean, we're enjoying Marvel Rivals, but it was more of a curiosity thing from Chris Anka. You know what I mean?
I'm like, will I vibe with this?
I mean, he was just like, I think one night we should just like go really hard onto Overwatch.
I love that. Like, call me if you want to play Counter-Strike too, though.
Okay. All right, I will. Look at this, dude. Freaking Dalsim, Zenyatta's Dalsim. We got freaking Kiriko as Jury. Winston is Blanca. Goddamn Sigma is freaking M. Bison. It looks awesome. Looks freaking damn good. Widowmaker is Cammy. What a perfect combo. Okay, story number 2. Hideo Kojima reveals his next espionage game, Fizzant, is 5 to 6 years away. This comes from Jordan Midler, the homie, at VGC. Got to hang with Jordan Midler a bit more in Los Angeles at the Liza P DLC event.
Did he out energy drink you? Because you know that's his title.
Well, I mean,
I know you hold strong to that.
It was, I mean, there were a couple of dorky moments where I was just like, you try this Monster Ultra Blue Hawaiian? He was like, oh yeah, dude. Like we were just bonding over our love for energy drinks. The story goes, Hideo Kojima has said that one of his next games, Fizzant, won't be released for 5 or 6 years. Kojima recently spoke to French magazine Le Film François, during which he was asked about the adaptation of the Death Stranding film, which is currently in production at A24, and if he'd like to work on more films in the future. When asked if he'd like to direct a film, Kojima replied, I already have. It was called Metal Gear Solid 1 through whatever. He didn't reply that.
Okay.
The actual quote was, oh, yes, I've received many offers after leaving Konami. Kojima went on to explain that he has multiple video game projects in development and that he may consider making a film once Death Stranding 2 and Fizzant are complete. Quote, besides Death Stranding 2, there is Fizzant in development. That will take me another 5 or 6 years. Maybe after that, I could finally decide to tackle a film. I grew up with cinema. Directing would be a kind of homage to it. Besides, I'm getting older and I would prefer to do it while still young. Beautiful.
Yeah, not bad at all. I mean, this is a guy that we talked about just a couple weeks ago of like, as he's entering the, the golden era, the end of his career, what has he got left in the tank? What will he still be working on? And when you think about this next game, right, we still have OD with Xbox in the middle of all of this. So 5 to 6 years out seems about right from the announcement that we had here with Herman Holst and the saying of like, yeah, we're going to get to that here in the future. 5 to 6, probably more generous 7 is probably right where we're at.
Do you think part of him hopes that people forget about OD so you can just work on Fizzant?
It is odd he didn't say that.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely took note of that. Like, really odd you didn't say OD, big dog. That's kind of weird.
What's up with OD? Like, what's that? I'm not sure. Next question. Yeah, that's one that I think I'm way more fascinated by because Fizzant we know will be a return to form with espionage action. It's why we love Kojima. It's why we grew up and people like me were putting him in the people you'd like to meet on your MySpace profile section.
Cool.
Like, I was like, man, one day I want to meet Kojima. And that's what we know and love him for. But this OD project is still kind of looming out there. We've, seen a lot of celebrities that are going to be in this OD game. And I just still don't know what the hell it is.
Yeah, we don't know much details on that besides he was gathering like the best of the horror genre to come help him and build this game out, right?
So like the Avengers.
Yeah, he was building the Avengers squad for this. But yeah, I mean, if you looking at this, when he says 5 to 6 years for Pheasant, right? I think you look at it and go, okay, well, then that means OD's got to be, 3 years, 4 years if we're pushing it towards the back end. But yeah, this is a man here who's probably looking at the tail end of his career going, how much more do I want to spend on games? I have a passion for directing. Can I still do that? When does that look like? And how do I get into that still? So, yeah, he's got a lot of miles still left in the tank, but he's also probably planning out, this takes a long time. What can I really do afterwards?
You see how he's got all of his secret game ideas on a flash drive?
I saw that.
So cool. That's the
I
coolest
saw
thing
that.
ever.
Isn't that cool?
I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave a bunch of just clues on a flash drive.
Okay. Just hand them into the team and just say good luck.
Let's go on this
Here's
treasure
where
hunt.
my chili is
We don't even know
hidden.
what we're looking for. He's just left a bunch of clues. The next story. Remember this moment, though, when Greg Miller predicted that?
He
That was
called
bull-
this.
Like, what did he know?
Yeah.
What did he know and who
What
did
did he
he
know, man?
We don't.
Do you think this will be like a massive like Metal Gear Solid 5 or do you think it will be more tighter?
Isn't?
Yeah. Like a normal, like a Metal Gear 1, 2 type situation.
More linear type
Yeah.
video game? Man, I mean, who freaking knows? Like, we don't even know what the concept is. We don't, we just know, all right, it's going to be dude in a suit.
Yeah.
Fucking
There will be robots.
crawling around. There will be some cool looking robots.
There will be robots.
Yoji Shinkawa will dive into the bag and just come up with the craziest looking things ever. Cool. I'm pumped for that.
You're not mad at that?
Kojima, by the way, 61 years old.
Okay. Yeah,
Like-
a lot of people mad that they're announcing so early, but we've already announced this game like 2 years ago, so like we already kind of know about it. You're not mad at, this is another game announced 5 to 6 years too early?
That's never really bothered me.
Okay.
That only really bothers me when whenever there are troubles in development. Like, obviously you could say that right now and there could be troubles in the future, but it's never really bummed me out that much. I just go, all right, I'll put that in my, the back of my brain. Hopefully I'll remember that later on and I'll get pumped up about it. But it's always nice to have that thought in my mind of somewhere out there, like in the next 4 years, Mike, in 4 years from now, I'll be going, man, Kojima right now is working on an espionage action
He's cooking
game.
something.
And that's
Yeah, yeah.
cool to me. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Story number 3, Nintendo confirmed Switch 2 will include much requested accessibility feature. This comes again from the homie, Jordan Midler at VGC. The Nintendo Switch 2 will support text-to-speech, the feature which has been shown off in a new gameplay clip of the Nintendo Switch 2's Game Chat feature, shows players typing messages into the system, which are then read by the system itself. While currently unconfirmed, the original Nintendo Switch system supported USB keyboards, so it's likely Nintendo Switch 2 will also support the accessory. The Nintendo Switch 2 will also support live captions, meaning that a chat box on the side of the screen during game chat sessions will transcribe what other players say into the Nintendo Switch 2 systems, adding a further layer of accessibility. Shout out to you, Nintendo.
Very cool.
That's surprising.
They're elevating their game on this
Wow.
one. We're really taking it to the next level.
We're really we're entering the year 2021. No, but like honestly, that's great.
Yeah.
No complaints there. It's awesome that Nintendo is listening to feedback, and it's likely that they've heard a lot of different or read a bunch of different articles and going, oh shit, we should add something like that. Why not?
You know a lot about processing and the power that it takes to do certain things. Is this going to absolutely destroy my machine while trying to run Fortnite with 4 different people's cameras live in front of me and trying to get text-to-speech? Is my Nintendo Switch going to catch fire doing this?
It won't help,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
And I wonder what is going to be the main driver of that, because whenever you try to put on live captions on your phone, your phone will tell you, hey, this is going to drain the battery faster.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not dealing with a battery issue, but we are dealing with a power output issue. And I got to assume that they kind of have a lot of that already prepared. Like, for example, whenever you record video through OBS on a computer, you're not really pulling from the GPU that's powering your game. You're pulling from like a certain chip encoder that is doing the separate kind of recording or streaming work or whatever. So they're not like directly interfering, or this isn't a Star Trek ship situation where it's like, all right, pull 12% from over there and throw it over here to the engines. I don't think it's that situation. We'll have to obviously probably just watch a future video from Digital Foundry to find out exactly what's happening there tech-wise, but I hope it works out. That's awesome.
Yeah, seems very
Shout
cool.
out to Nintendo for including more things like that. Story number 4, Injustice 3 could be in development, according to a Multiverses data miner. Once again, Jordan Miller at VGC. The development of a third game in the Injustice series is being teased by a Multiverses data miner, an account that had a history of posting information about Multiverses content before it was officially revealed, has teased that a new game in the Injustice franchise is in development. Quote, Multiverses shutting down is an injustice. Then doing it all again is just another injustice.
Oh,
Damn.
snap.
Reads
No,
the
you
post,
didn't do
read
that.
the post on Twitter from Multiverse Susie. Quote, leaving me without any leaks is yet again another injustice. They continued. Multiverse Susie, oh, it's Multiverses, but their name is Susie, so it's Multiversussy. Multiverse.
No, you
Multiverse
can't pronounce it that way.
Okay, we got a lot going
They
on in
followed
that
up
one.
with the reply reading the number 3. Both Multiverses and Injustice are games published by Warner Bros. Games, which may explain how Multiverse Susie has seemingly been able to acquire data on the latter. That's exciting for Injustice fans out there.
This
Always-
person is in your kernels.
They are in.
This person has your information, just so
You
you're
better
aware.
watch out for Susie out there.
This person clearly has your number.
They have infiltrated like Fizzins. Be careful out there. Does this do anything for you? I know you and me are not generally the big fighting game fans, but I get pumped up knowing that we're going to get, I think with Injustice and Mortal Kombat games, I would say those are more leaning towards the casual fighting game fans, because you could also play those games as a story and see these amazing cutscenes.
That's why I've always loved Mortal Kombat, and I love Injustice for that, right? And so I'm super interested because of that campaign, that story they'll tell, all those wacky, insane moments of what will be happening on the screen. And so, yeah, I'm all in. If this is real and we can trust Susie, then I'm in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
as a Batman fan, you know, I'm excited to play as more Batman, but then to see more of that universe. Injustice 2 was such a fun time. Like one of the most beautiful games on last gen for sure.
NetherRealm just
They're nasty.
crushes it
They
visually.
rock.
It's
It's
ridiculous.
crazy. As the chat says, they freaked it. But it also, whenever we talk about Injustice 2, it just makes me think of, weirdly enough, my most viewed video that I ever made on the internet is the Injustice 2, the movie, all cutscene, 1080p, 60 FPS on
man,
IGN, 9.5 million views.
Pushing those visuals, dude. I'm gonna check that out tonight.
Yeah, people love those cutscenes who might not super be into the gameplay, but yeah, that's such a fun universe.
Barrett and Mike, the views count on that video was huge.
Huge.
But I'm tired of all this huge stuff. I'm tired of all the big news.
Take those views down.
If I wanted something smaller, say the tiniest news I needed to know about, where would I go?
Andy, you'd go to our last story, the We News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
From Eurogamer. Infinity Nikki's development team has issued an apology following a recent and poorly received update to the game, which led to an influx of negative feedback on Steam. The developer released version 1.5, which added a number of bugs, which included players being able to start the game on PS5, they were unable to start the game on PS5, meaning it had to be re-downloaded completely. Other issues included crashes and Nikki not moving. God damn.
Yeah, not a good start.
Infinity Nikki not being able to move out there. Meanwhile, the developer retconned Infinity Nikki's story, and in the words of one player, quote, dive deep into scummy monetization practices with this update. We're acutely aware that these recent issues have impacted your experience and damaged the trust and affection you've placed in us. To all stylists, that's what they call their gamers.
Stylists. I love it. I love it.
Eyes up, stylists. To all stylists, we offer our deepest apologies, the developer wrote on social media.
Yeah, that's a tough place to be.
That's fantastic.
Dive deep into shady monetization tactics is never a good thing you want to hear.
Yeah. You don't want that in a news story or a quote from a viewer. Nintendo will be attending Gamescom in 2025. That's pretty huge. That's awesome.
I mean, you got to think Switch 2. This will be August, so you're coming hot off of Donkey Kong as well. So, yeah, this is the perfect time to showcase that. If people haven't jumped on board, hey, here's your chance. Go hands-on. Come jump in.
Get your hands on one of them Switch 2s in case they're still really rare at that point. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe I'll sell my second one for $3,000.
That's a scummy monetization tactic.
Best Indie Games Summer Showcase is set for June 3rd at 8 a.m. PT. Now, is best a part of the title, or is that just...
Or are they just claiming that's the best
Yeah,
indie?
this is the best one. Indie Games, the best Indie Games Summer Showcase is set for June 3rd at 8 p.m. 8
there you
a.m.
go.
PT.
Be there.
We'll see you then.
It might be the best of the summer.
Who knows? From Nobel, a new indie showcase with a focus on indie JRPGs was announced. It's called Indie Quest, and it's set for May 29th, 4 p.m. PT, with over 40 exclusive new trailers.
Wouldn't it be great if it was like new indie game showcase, the best indie game
The best indie game showcase. We also have the 6-1 Indie coming out with theirs, which I've
that's
seen
great.
a lot of hype about.
Oh, okay,
Shout out
nice.
to the squad at 6-1 Indie.
Big Mike and Kyle.
Yeah, a lot of people pumped for the 6-1 Indie showcase, and I don't have a date on that. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Just look up 6-1 Indie. That's it for We News, everybody. Let's get into some super chats as well as the You're Wrong section.
Okay.
And the You're Wrong section, I'm sure we'll have some news about Marathon.
Yeah, we were all over the
or
place.
Bungie.
Yeah.
We have Master Jantix, or Mr. Jantix, sorry, with a You're Wrong says, clarification via Paul Tassi for the Bungie art drama. Quote, it has now happened 4 times in the past 4 years. The others were Destiny fan art that was lifted in some capacity for the game or in merchandise. That was third-party contractors. However, this is Bungie in-house or former in-house or whatever you want to believe. Okay.
Good clarification.
Great to know.
That's a lot.
Kebabs talks about the captions tanking Switch 2's battery life, and how it has a lot of processing power reserved for the OS, so I think it'll be covered.
Nice.
Okay, good to know. Great to know. Let's get into some super chats. Thank you, everybody, for supporting us here at Kinda Funny. You all keep the lights and the mics on. I heard our advertisement for the first time on Game S Mornings recently.
Made you smile.
I was like, oh, shit. When Greg mentioned we're sponsoring, I didn't know what that meant. I was just like, all right, cool.
I thought we were going to be reading out about them.
Me too.
Yeah, same.
Me too.
I thought it was like that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Gerald of Rivia says, happy Monday, crew. Andy, Mike is the Red Guardian to your Yelena Belova. You're saying he's my father.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
and
you.
You're my daughter who doesn't want any part of me.
That is kind of true. That is kind of true. Thank you for the $5.
But I'll pull
super
up in a
chat.
limo and I'm going to get you.
Yeah. You're going to get in this
When
car.
you need me the most, I'll be there.
And when I don't need you at all. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Gerald. We got a $2 super chat from Nicholas Chambers that just says, remember Halo Reach? Damn.
So good.
Man,
Remember Reach?
what an experience. that
Halo,
was.
what a special time.
Matthew Lewis asks with the $2 super chat, Andy, where'd you get that shirt?
Did you get that sweatshirt?
I'm always getting Instagram
People talk about it.
algorithms.
Really?
I don't remember where this is from.
Instagram is hitting you. So then, okay, I like that.
Maybe, man, maybe this was the Yeti.
Oh,
The,
yeah,
the Yeti or the Yeti. Yete.
Wait until you see this vintage T-shirt I bought.
Oh, shit.
You're
How
gonna
much
love
was
it.
No.
Expensive.
Triple digits?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Mike.
Bro. It might be 2.
It's
No,
a
I-
shirt.
It's a 6 shirt though. 6 shirts.
Okay, I will say, though.
Should
I
never
will,
spend more than like 50 on a T-shirt.
I will say, you know, we made fun of you a lot for your Wolverine vintage t-shirt,
Yeah.
vintage sweater, which I don't know why we did because you're such a massive Wolverine fan. You won't shut up about
Massive.
the guy.
Everybody knows I love Logan.
Everybody knows that. Logan is your inspiration
Yeah.
in life, your number one influence. But you wear that a lot. You're getting the money's worth.
I've been getting the money's worth because I'm fat. And I can't wear any of my other T-shirts.
Oh, okay,
So that
gotcha.
one, it hides my belly.
Gotcha. So you wouldn't be wearing the expensive
So now-
clothing item as much as you would be if
Yeah.
you didn't feel like you were
Oh yeah, I'll
overweight.
probably never wear that. But
Okay.
only on a special occasion. That's what it was meant to be.
Okay.
Special occasion. Now it's everyday wear because I'm fat. Now my worry is, am I moving from XL, Andy, to double XL? Because I was a large, but I haven't messed around in the XL area. But now I feel like I've gone past XL. Now I'm double X.
Now, I mean, it could just be like, hey, baggy fashion is in.
Yeah,
Maybe
get those
take
like
advantage
cool
of
like
that.
Culture Kings T-shirts.
Go triple XL. Super baggy, you know what I mean?
Well, I want you to know I bought some double XL T-shirts. I'm gonna see if they fit.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if they fit.
That's
I also
exciting.
bought some XL. I'm gonna test it all out.
Okay.
Big order from Nike coming in.
Nike. That's got to be a really expensive order.
It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty, but I needed it.
Nike's prices always shock me, right? Because like
Whoa.
I discover like I love Nike shoes. I've discovered recently that like, oh shit, my feet have been uncomfortable this whole time because I've been buying $60 cross trainers,
Oh, you gotta
$50
get
cross
the real
trainers.
ones. That's right. Yeah.
And then for the first time that I was able to afford like a $120 pair of shoes, I was like, oh shit, this is why they're so expensive
That
because they're
cushion.
so comfortable, right? But then I'll look at the other and I'll be like, man, I'm getting a nice pair of like running shoes that are
Yeah,
super
yeah.
comfortable. Let me check out the t-shirts. Dude, every other item on that store is so expensive.
$45 a pop.
It's
every single
crazy.
T-shirt is $45. They got me because the shoes were half off, $60. I'm like, oh snap! I need this pair of shoes because Roger never bought me the right pair of
Fucking
shoes.
Roger.
Fucking Roger, you
God,
know what I
he
mean?
didn't get you the shirt. He didn't get you the
This is
thing.
your birthday too.
And
That's
so
fucked up.
then I got to go buy these shoes, $60. I think I got one over on them, right? Next thing I know, 4 T-shirts, $45 a pop, Andy. Boom. You're in it. You're in deep.
You're in it. There's nothing you can do about it.
I can't do that.
Yeah, like you have no choice. You have no power over this. Oh yeah,
Oh, shit.
here's a good Greg way. I did a Greg way on Friday, clearing my name in the Snowback Mike.
Oh,
Pikmin
okay. I'll have to
t-shirt
watch this
fiasco,
right
yeah.
away. Okay.
Well, because somebody on the subreddit posted an image
Yeah.
and was
How
like,
good I looked.
and for me, if you want to, like, I don't know if you could fast forward to that video, Bear, but I was like, was my Photoshop job not good enough? Why did
Oh
you?
shit! Did you do one?
Well, I mean I'm the basis for that post.
No shit. I
'Cause
didn't
they
see
didn't
that.
have. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had that image because that's just a photo that Nick texted me.
That's a really good Photoshop.
Fast forward a little bit more. Well, I was like just testing out the different shirts.
Yeah, we were
I had
just
to match
testing
your skin
things.
tones there as well. If
That's
you
a great
noticed.
call. That's a great call.
And like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I saw that subreddit post.
Damn,
and
I
was
might
like,
look good in a white T-shirt.
I
Maybe
think
I'll
you
try
would.
that.
I think you like. Is this not good enough? Is that
I
not
look like a little kid out in Switzerland, like moving milk from the fucking hills.
I thought I did a pretty
I should
good
be in the
job.
Sound of Music, the movie, or something like that.
We got a $10 super chat from Killian. Thank you, Killian, for supporting us with the $10 super chat. Says, I'm calling it. Marathon either gets delayed or canceled. They become an official PlayStation Studios team in 1 year. Any passing interest I had in Marathon was extinguished this past week.
Canceled? You think? I think delayed. I don't think this is getting canceled. That would be wild.
Dude, can you imagine?
That would be massive.
Like Concord into Fair Games not looking great when Jade Raymond
Yeah.
leaves. Into like, holy shit, man.
There's something else in there they full canceled too, I thought.
Blue Points game.
Yeah.
Whatever Blue Point was working on, which was a God of War
Yes.
Yeah. A shared world extractive
Live
shooter.
su- yeah.
Just watch Kratos running around with an AK. That does it for our super chats. Thank you everybody for supporting us, supporting this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily. We're gonna have Gamescast next, which is us checking out all of the. Is it a shit list?
Yeah, it's a shit
It's a
list.
shit
Every
list.
Rockstar game ranked. We'll talk about every Rockstar game.
Very, very exciting. We'll see you then, gamers. Stay tuned for Gamescast, followed by The Last of Us screencast, followed by Kind of Funny podcast, followed by more streams. We're always here for you. Take care. Be good to each other. We'll see you next time, gamers.